Okay, this is another story that I'm doing by Clay Hammock, Clay B. Hammock. I said in one of my other children's books that I read that I would soon be coming up with a new story that I wrote. Well, I was talking about another book that's very long, and it's not finished yet, but then I got this idea for this short story, and here it is. I finished writing it, decided to draw 3 pages about the story, but I only got one colored, and this is the one I'll show. And the name of the little story, it's like Dr. Seuss. It's written like Dr. Seuss, and that's why I was so excited about writing it when I saw how good it rhymed. But anyway, it's a great children's story called Loopers and Leepers. And bear with me one moment. And this right here is about the story. Let's see when I get to that part that you know that you're getting to this picture when I'm reading the story. You should be able to figure it out fairly easily. Loopers and Leepers. And one moment, please. Okay, here we go. I am fixing to read the story, so bear with me as I read the story. One moment. I gotta make sure that my voice does not dry out, because I've got to do all the parts. So what gave me the idea to do this was one time somebody from Japan sent me an email about the book I read, Stan the Hot Dog Man, and he said, I like that audio thing you did, and I thought, I wonder if I could do an audio book like they do on some other places on the internet. Like if you bring up the radio on the internet, sometimes there'll be a radio story and there's always one picture with it. And I remember the guy that said, I like that audio thing. So I thought, well, I'll never draw all the pictures for Loopers and Leepers. If I get it published, I'll get a professional illustrator. I just managed to draw 3 pictures. But I thought, well, I'll do it like an audio book. So this is it, Loopers and Leepers. This is more like an audio book with a drawn picture, drawn and colored by me. I used to draw and color a little bit in the past, was kind of good at it. So anyway, that's it. This is a audio book, which I hope to get it in a book someday. So here we go. Bear with me. I just wanted to let you know I'm not going to be turning pages. This is about the only picture. This is an audio book of Loopers and Leepers. Here we go. One moment. Okay, here we go. From the pencil of a ready writer comes a brand new Dr. Seuss type story entitled Loopers and Leepers by Clay B. Hammock. On a moonlit night, while a soft wind is blowing and the frogs are croaking while their bodies are soaking in puddles of water from a recent rain, then you'll see and then you'll hear them again, Loopers and Leepers, those strange creatures that only children see. In between the shadows are things that go bump in the night, or even jump in the night and crawl in the night. What's a sound? Did you see that? If it wasn't a frog, a bug, or a moth, it could have been loopers and leapers. Those strange creatures that give me the creepers, oh jeepers, they give me the creepers, those loopers and leapers. Then one day, after supper I would say, two children that I know, who don't live too far away, decided to look one moonlit night with a flashlight for loopers and leapers that give them the creepers as well. It's Bunny and Billy whom I'm talking about, whom after supper they gave a small shout. We're off with our flashlight on this moonlit night to look for loopers and leapers who gave us a great fright. Don't be too late and come back 8:30. We won't be too late, Mother, my dear, 'cause we think loopers and leapers are quite near. So off they went with flashlight in hand and thought this adventure was quite grand. And through the backyard they proceeded to go. They really didn't know where else to go. They looked at the fountain and it was quite a sight. Moonlight glistening in the water was quite all right. But there was no loopers and leapers over there. It seemed like they were not anywhere. So we looked around the myrtle tree, but there was nothing to see except the myrtle tree. So Bunny and me, we got down on our knees by our own house. Bunny was afraid while I flashed my flashlight under the house, and I saw nothing at all except a small mouse. This cannot be a looper or leaper that give us the creepers. We must look on and walk around all over the yard, because finding those loopers and leapers may be a little bit hard. Then we checked with our mother, and she said it was okay to go looking for loopers and leapers over at Clay's. He lives just across the street and down a ways, and Clay is usually there all day and night, and he'll know if there's loopers and leapers that give us a great fright. He might even show us some, even tonight. And there he was, sitting on the front porch and watching the view. He was there, right there, just like we knew. Hello, Clay. We've come to say, have you seen loopers and leapers today? Said Billy. Then Clay looked at me and Bonnie and thought for a while, until suddenly he smiled a big smile and said with a grin, it's nice to see you again, 'cause you're my friends, and friends are few, and I'd be glad to help you too. I've heard some strange noises, yes, quite a few, and was about to take a look until I saw you too. So come on down and we'll look all around until maybe, just maybe, loopers and leapers might be found. Then the frogs started croaking a croak that was quite loud and seemed to be coming from all around, even from under the ground. I don't like those frogs, said Bonnie with a scared look. Must they be so loud and creepy? No need to fear, 'cause I'm here, said Clay. So it's safe to look for loopers and leapers today. So then they started looking and listening for any strange sound where loopers and leapers might be found. So Clay led the way and followed a strange sound that seemed worse than all the frogs that were all around, making those terrible croaking sounds. Just then Bonnie let out a shriek, "Eek!" when a frog, jumping high into the air, landed there, right there, on her feet. Then she shook her foot. Then she looked to see if the frog was gone, but it was hard to make that frog move along. He stayed right there, and he refused to budge, until Billy with his hand gave him a little nudge. Then off he jumped into the night, the frog that gave Bonnie a terrible fright on this moonlit night. "Over here in the back," said Clay. "The strange noise is back there, so come along, I'll lead the way," with flashlight in hand. He looked around and listened real hard for that strange sound that seemed it just could not be found. Until finally Clay said, "Ho hum, it's only a possum that's walking in my backyard and making it real hard to hear loopers and leapers for all the strange sounds that all of them heard all around. Maybe we'd better, and because it's time for you two to split and go back to your yard and look one more time very hard for loopers and leapers that give you the creepers." "Oh, jeepers, they give us the creepers," said Billy. Then Clay said, "Mom will worry, so you'd better hurry. It will soon be 8:30, and you should not, be not late, even if this adventure is quite great." So in no time at all, they were both back home. So again they looked around for loopers and leapers until they heard a strange whistling sound. "What's that, Bonnie?" "I don't know, Billy, but it sure gives me the willies." "I think it's from over there," said Billy. "Yes, you're right," said Bonnie. "It's louder over there. It sounds creepy." "Like loopers and leapers," said Billy. "Oh, jeepers, they give us the creepers, those loopers and leapers," said Billy. So they walked toward the sound, and their bodies shook all around for fear of what might be found when they got to the sound. Over there," said Billy. "It's louder over there. That bush is shaking, and I hear the whistling sound." For what might be found, they did not exactly know, so they walked toward the sound cause they didn't have anywhere else to go. With flashlight in hand, they aimed the light toward the bush that shook and gave them such a terrible fright in the middle of a moonlit night. "It knows we are here. Should we run or look to see what it could possibly be? Yes, we will look, and yes, we will see what it could possibly be." And just when Billy took just one more step, out popped his little brother Lee, who laughed with joyful glee at the clever trick that he played on me. Then they heard another sound that was not frightening, and it could be heard all around. The sound was also near. It was Mother Dear who hollered out, "It's 8:30, so come back in before you're late." And this ends the story of Loopers and Leapers. So that's it. Loopers and leapers that give me the creepers. And there it is. Loopers and leapers. Billy and Bonnie. They're in the backyard. They're heading toward the fountain. And the moonlight glistening in the water was quite all right. But there was no loopers and leapers over there. And they did not know if they would find them anywhere. So they looked under the house. And then they went over to Clay's to go looking for loopers and leapers. That Clay might help to find them, to help them find loopers and leapers. So then they come back into their own backyard. And they hear the strange whistling noise. And then they see the bush shaking over there, shaking. And out popped their brother Lee, laughed at the clever trick that he played on me. Also, you'll notice the shirt that Billy's wearing. It's my favorite shirt that I'm wearing right now, except he don't have a collar. Let's zoom in on that shirt and I'll show you real quick if I can. Okay, let's take a zoom real quick on that shirt. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, see how that shirt looks? Notice the detail I put in these small pictures. You can see his face now, can't you? Whoops, whoops. Too close. Notice that that is like a purple and blue striped shirt. My favorite shirt. And the collar was the hardest to draw because in the shape of a V I had to redraw it 5 times. Quick look at Bonnie. There she is, coming out of the back door, heading down the steps. Okay. And there is the moon on this moonlit night. I had a friend who's a painter, and he said he liked the way that I drew the clouds with real dark black ink. Black ink pen. I had trouble doing the bush, but anyway, there's the fountain I drew. Close up of the fountain, because it is small unless you enlarge it, and that's what it looks like large. One more thing, or I would turn this off. There is one more thing to show. First, and let's see here. I will show you the shirt I'm wearing, and then there was one more thing. I drew 2 other pictures, and one of them was frogs, and when I was drawing the frogs, a funny thing happened. I got invaded by frogs in my trailer. 5 times there was a frog that got in, and one time I took his picture, and I'll show you after I show you the picture of that I was drawing of the frogs. Okay, I got it finished, but I haven't finished colored it in. So I did have 2 other pictures, but I'm not finished. But anyway, here is the frogs right there. There, I was drawing the frogs, and I decided to color it, but was coloring the wrong paper. So here's an idea what it partly looks like in color. There. And here's the third picture. It's supposed to be the beginning of the story, but it's not finished. And there it is. Take a quick look. That's about it. The character Clay standing on the front porch, looking over the horizon, watching the last glow of the sunset, and the moon is out, and over in this corner, and you probably can't see, is Billy coming down the road to visit Clay to look for Loopers and Leapers with Bonnie. But the main thing that I wanted to show you, another thing I wanted to show you, the last thing I wanted to show you is, I said there was frogs that came while I was drawing the frogs. I got a picture of one of them. So I'll show the picture quite quick, very quick. Bear with me and I will end Loopers and Leapers. Okay. This might add a little bit to your faith that the frog did come in, 5 of them, when I was drawing the frogs. Okay, here we go. I will have to see what I'm doing here. Here we go. Okay, if you notice, that's my faucet. And as you'll see, there's a frog on top of it. They were coming out of the bathtub. I would forget to put a stopper on it, and then another one would come out another day. I had to chase these frogs down all over the trailer and catch them with a handkerchief. One of them was jumping in the living room, and I chased it all the way to the hallway before I caught it and threw it out in the yard. So that's it. This is one of the frogs that was croaking while his body was soaking in puddles of water from a recent rain. And there he is, liking the faucet in my bathroom here. A real frog that came when I was drawing the frogs. Okay, that's it. What do we got down here? And that's about it. This was the first picture that I'm not finished with. Yep, there it is. That's the first picture of Loopers and Leapers. I will end it with a picture of the frog. This ends Loopers and Leapers.